Hello everybody, I am back for another beard report. And yes, oh, this thing is killing me. Yes, my friends, the beard is still here. The beard is still weird, but I gotta tell you something, its days are numbered. This is it. I can't take it anymore. The experiment was a success. I can't stand it! What was it they said on, I think it was How I Met Your Mother, you know, I'm not that young. I'm young, but I'm not that young. But it's taken me all this time just to be able to grow this. So it's a nice experiment to see how would it look now filled in. I was gonna try and keep it going until the parks reopen, Disneyland, all that stuff, but since nobody knows when in the world that's going to happen, and at this point I could see just how full it's ever going to get. It's just getting longer and stringier and pokier, I don't know if you can tell, and just, it's in my way, and it's starting to get in my mouth, and then when you're eating spaghetti or something, you know, the hair is on your food, and that is something, that's a line that I'm like, nah, not worth it for this, you know? Maybe I'll give it another couple years and try again. It'll be, you know, more manlier than this. My friend Oscar, it's funny, I was looking, he hasn't shaved. He can't grow a beard, or George, my friends, some of my friends, they don't get even this. So I feel like it's okay. I'm no lumberjack, but that's all right. As you can no doubt see from the crazy amount of boxes and stuff behind me, it's been busy. This is the reckoning day, you know, when you put off everything and you're like, okay, I'm staying inside, and then all of a sudden you gotta do everything all at once. This is one of those all at once days. So we had to do a whole bunch of stuff. I had to drop off some hard drives for people and get a bunch of, just every errand all in one day. I gotta drop off some more hats to be embroidered in Orange County down here in a minute. So all my errands are happening, but I promised I would not shave off this without, you know, giving you one look at the gloriousness of this. I could definitely grow the mustache. That's the Sicilian in me, like, hey, I got a mustache. So I promised I wouldn't shave it off without, you know, just showing you maybe what I look like with just a mustache or something like that. So we'll go do that. But first I gotta finish these errands. Anyway, I took it as long as I could stand, but I can't stand no more. So this is it. We're going home to shave well. All right, here it is. Here's the before. One last look. The patchiness, we'll remember the fluff together, and how every morning when I woke up it was all fluffed up and frizzy looking, and we'll just soak this in. Before, middle. Look at me, I'm cool goatee guy, right on, rocking it, we're going to rock tonight, we're going to headbang, we're going to rocking the goat bro, you got a hog, let's ride the hog, rocking the hog. And now the League of Shadows. We're going to burn Gotham to the ground. And now, after. This is the look I call the, oh mama, mamma mia, mamma mia. Do you like my mustache, signora? Oh, signora, bella, che bella, where's my pasta? You go get the pasta now. I need a meatball. It's a mustache time. My face feels so much cooler. And I don't mean like, you know, like it's more awesome. I mean just like physically. What do you think, Frankie? Do you like it? He's not a fan. It's no longer the beard report. This is now the mustache report. And next time it'll probably just be the face report. No, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed my face back. And I gotta tell you, I feel a whole lot better now. So what is there to report from the face other than about the face? Well, Allie had her birthday. She joined the quarantine birthday club, and I have tried to clean my desk as best I can. Things are still sort of locked down in California quite a bit. I hear that things are starting to unlock in other places. I hear Shanghai, Disneyland is planning to reopen this month. In Orlando, they're talking about social distancing things. The local government's not the park itself. Disney's keeping a tight lid on things, which I can kind of understand, but still no news about when things are really going to start unlocking here and when we'll be able to hit the road, do some adventures, but I hope pretty darn soon. One of the only times I've really got to leave the house is an old neighbor of ours, runs an estate sale company. And it sort of happened, this whole thing happened right down on a big planned estate sale, and I messed up all their plans, and of course the house is being, so there's all this stuff going on, so we decided to go support because they were allowed to let people in literally one at a time. Like, you come into the house, you look at the stuff, you buy whatever you need, you leave, the next person gets to come in. So Allie and I went over there, and she found a few vintage gems she thought people would like, so she'll add them to our weird online store. And this guy, whoever this guy was, this kid who had lived in the house, who's now in charge of selling off the stuff and kept all the personal stuff, and then this is the stuff they're just letting go of, must have been like right around my age, because there was some snacks inside of this place. Some stuff that I was like, I can't leave without it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it afterwards, but I cannot leave without it, including the 4 original Ghostbusters action figures. The Kenner, excuse me, oh no, I think I dropped Winston. Look at this, the 4 original Kenner Ghostbusters action figures from the cartoon. Look at these guys. Sadly, there was no Ecto-1 or Firehouse or whatever, but I had to throw these guys into the pile, and that was not all. There were also some extremely early Toy Biz X-Men figures. X-Men were a big deal because of the cartoon in the early 90s, you know? So X-Men were a big deal at the time. Remember the old X-Men trading cards? So there was a couple of Wolverines in there, old school Juggernaut, and the old school Sabretooth, Magneto with the magnet in his hand, but sadly no helmet. And then this came a little later, but they had a Cyclops figure and the yellow Wolverine, which I always wanted as a kid and could never find the yellow one. It was too popular, you know, the one from the cartoon. But the Cyclops over here, his little laser vision still works. Look at that. Amazing.
It was a heck of a bargain. I'm Sabretooth. I don't like Wolverine. We're both from Canada. Yar, yar, and we talk like pirates, eh?
Sadly, there was no cape, but also an old school Darkwing Duck figure. At least he had his hat. And Launchpad. Launchpad! I love old action figures. I particularly loved the packaging when I was a kid. I was always obsessed about it. That's why I learned to use Photoshop in the first place. I thought someday I will design toys and packaging for toys. But when I get something like that, it's always something I hold on to, I check out, and then I let it go. I pass it on to someone else who wants it more, collects that specific thing, or I sell it for a few bucks on eBay or something like that whenever I get some kind of old school thing. Except the only thing I've ever really collected for me, that I always have, ever since I first got them as a kid, is Batman. The old '89 Michael Keaton Batman. I have not a vast collection or anything, but I do have a lot of things like this, the old Batmobile, the Kenner Batmobile, that were insanely difficult to get because they're super expensive now, especially with the box or anything like that. And I'm talking like hundreds of dollars. I don't know why. So some of these I've held on to for a long time because, you know, someday if I'm starving, I guess they'll go on eBay, but I hope they never have to because these were like my favorite, and I pull them out every once in a while and mess around with them. So I'll have to do a whole thing on my '89 Batman collection because there's nothing vintage 1989 through like '92 Batman that I'm not excited about. I think I've got Bob the Joker's Goon over here on the wall and a few other things like that around. I just realized I have this as well. It's the same exact Batmobile for Batman Returns. And this package is super hard to find for some reason. They also made one that was a bat missile, like the sides came off, just like in the movie. But this one was just a repackage of the first movie's Batmobile, just in a Batman Returns box. And so everybody wanted the new Batmobile, nobody wanted the old one. And so this was extremely hard to find. So I don't know if I'll ever let this one go. But what was even weirder was when they started moving on away from Batman Returns, getting towards Batman Forever and the Val Kilmer, and then eventually George Clooney. Not that I dislike Val Kilmer, but just, you know, the movies were like, huh? They made this. For some reason, they repackaged the same Batmobile again, painted it a camo color, and it was the Camo Attack Batmobile. And it was like really cheap on the store shelves at the end there when it was the Camo Attack. It came with Camo Attack Batman. Because they basically just had the same figure and repainted it over and over with different accessories. But to actually have a Camo Attack Batman with no cape somewhere up on one of these shelves or something, and the old Batman, well, I'll show you. See, there he is up there, Camo Attack Batman with some of his friends. Now, earlier, Toy Biz, you'll have to forgive the dust up here, by the way, made Batman figures, just like those X-Men figures. It's actually sort of the first thing that they ever did, action figure-wise, but they quickly lost to Kenner, who made the Dark Knight collection. I have a Toy Biz Batmobile right up there, and some of the things, and Again, you'll have to forgive the dust. There's some Batman VHS, some Batman cereal. Anytime I'm at an antique store, estate sale, flea market, and I see anything that was the Toy Biz Batman or the Kenner, oh, well, this is the wrong one, the Dark Knight Collection Batman stuff right over here, which is sort of expensive. Like if you were just to buy it on eBay or whatever, it's really, really pricey. Sometimes like $50 just for the figures if they're in their package. I think I have one actually somewhere here. But whenever I find these things for like a couple of bucks somewhere, see, dusty, sorry, I grab them right away. Jeez, and I got cats around here, so now there's cat hair. Now I'm gonna have allergies, oh no. But I always grab them because I can remember going into Toy City. There's an old school toy store in Anaheim. It's huge, like the size of Toys R Us, but it had different stuff, really cool. And one whole aisle, this whole section of a whole aisle in 1990-ish was covered with this. Like around Christmas time and stuff, when you had a little money from the grandparents, your uncles and aunts send you $5 with the Christmas card, and you just held on to it. And the only thing with the packaging is they changed the color behind the figure, so it was just all these colors and different colors of Batman, and you're like, oh. 1989 Batman, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. The Muppet movie, 1979. 1989 Batman film, the Ninja Turtles at that time. Back to the Future I didn't really get into until later because I didn't, I liked it, but I didn't fully understand until I was a little older and able to understand. But superheroes I got. So 66 Batman was on TV in reruns. The 89 Batman movie was like the first real adult, like, whoa, should we let him watch this movie that I ever got to see on VHS? So it's a big movie for me. So I guess, you know what, I'll have to show you guys like some of the other weird 1989 Batman stuff I have, including a Peruvian figure up here and some weird stuff. So because people know I'm into it, actually somewhere, probably in my storage somewhere, my buddy Ben, whose birthday it is, happy birthday Ben, found me, I think at a yard sale or something, he found me a 1989 Batman. It's sort of like a running jacket, a bomber jacket with the 89 Batman logo on it. So that was pretty cool. So I've always held on to things like this. The only thing that I really collect, other than vintage Star Wars, that I kind of hold on to. But I'm one of those people that I don't care. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the package and all that stuff. I'm probably going to pull it out anyways. So package stuff is rare for me. I wouldn't spend like a lot of money on it. If I got it for like a couple bucks, whoa, I'll hang on to it. I'll hold on to it. I'm trying to see if I have any more. I have tons of it sitting right here around me in my little cave area. I normally don't use this desk. I'm on the road. I'm everywhere. I'm out all the time doing stuff, except for the Patreon podcast, and as you can see, because all the dust, or the time travel videos where there's a lot of editing and a lot of time spent, I don't really hang out in here. I just stack stuff on it and go about my business and use my laptop on my bed or in the living room. But more and more, I've been stuck at home, obviously, and so I've started to do some stuff in here and just trying to arrange things in some sort of pleasant manner so that I can stand being cooped up in my little work corner over here. And yeah, so it's not too bad. What else is going on? I mean, other than not knowing what we don't know, it's hard to give updates or tell everybody what you're doing. We've been staying at home. Some people came and waved from a safe distance for Allie's birthday. Some friends, that was nice. She had sort of a drive-through birthday, or people dropped off cake and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. And it seems like we're going to be starting to unlock things a little bit by bit. So of course, I was told by several different people, like, well, you have a media thing. You can go around and film different stuff during this thing. And I thought, no, I want to do my part, to do my duty, stay home and be part of the flattening with the curve and all that stuff. But as soon as there's any kind of like, no, we could start doing it, then I'm going to hit the ground running. I got lots of stuff that I want to do. But in the meantime, I have tons of time traveling to Disneyland to do. And so the next one's going to be Frontierland in the 50s. Which is pretty cool. There's some pretty cool early stuff. And I actually have a lot more vintage footage. This is a year's project. This project, I talked about it in the podcast thing, but I've spent years collecting this stuff. And everything I've shown so far, including the one I'm currently working on, is all sort of the tip of the iceberg. Like the amount of stuff I took over and said, we'll show this stuff first, see if people like it, like seeing it. And since they do, okay, well, I'll come out with the big haul of stuff. And so that's coming, it's all getting transferred and processed and everything, and that'll be a like crazy amount of work to sort through and edit. But we're keeping our spirits up, we're keeping our positivity up. You can't really control the circumstance, you can only control your reaction. I gotta admit, I'm starting to go a little stir crazy. Just a little cabin fever is setting in here. I feel better now that the beard is off We haven't done too many more long walks, so as things start to open up soon, I'm sure I'll start taking some long walks and we'll see some different stuff. Ooh, and I almost forgot, these came in. Sweet beanies. They're just a test, so there's not that many of them at first. You know, we'll see if people like them. Maybe we can make more, but a few of these will be up on the thing too. I wear beanies when it's cold, and I always think, man, I wish I had my hat, you know. No one will believe it's me if I'm just wearing a plain beanie. So we got a couple of these, and then some black ones that are the kind that don't flippy-uppy. You know what I'm talking about? I think someone said skull cap version. I don't know if that's the accurate term for the kind of beanie that you don't fold, but I thought that was pretty cool. We remade some patches, the adventure patches, you know, they're like the green ones with the thing, not this one, but these are also up there. So other than that, I cannot think about what's going on. I've been putting my head down into my work. I've been trying to have a I get to instead of look what happened to me attitude. Have you ever heard of that? It's sort of a quest for positivity thing, actually. Instead of, oh man, I have to go do this, telling yourself the story of, oh, I get to go do this. It's sort of a survival mechanism. If you've ever been through traumatic things or bad things that have happened, even if it's not true, you try to tell yourself a positive narrative, right? Like, I get to spend so much time in the house with Allie, and I get to work on these different types of videos. I get to spend some time watching TV. I get, instead of, you know, this horrible thing has happened. It's a mental shift. A lot of these things that I talk about with the whole quest for positivity thing, you know, trying to think of things you're grateful for, right? Things your grandma would say, count your blessings, have a positive attitude. You can't control your circumstances, only your reaction. Tell yourself you get to instead of you have to. They sound so simple. They sound overly simplistic. Like, come on, you moron, that's not going to help anybody. But in reality, when I made my quest for positivity real for me, in other words, when I decided I just don't want to be the cynical, negative person anymore, how can I change it? These are all the things that I could find that people would talk about. You know, breathe when you have anxiety, these simple things. But I found that when you apply them systematically and consistently, and of course you're going to fail at first, it's not working. You wake up every day for weeks and tell yourself, I'm going to be positive and I'm going to apply these simple things. I've discovered that, just at least for me, they have totally transformed my life, changed my attitude, made me more positive, and kept me a lot more sane in coping with crazy times like this and, you know, other situations, obviously divorce and crazy stuff that I've gone through and that have happened. So that has been really helpful for me. That's all I can really say. I feel like that's helpful. Obviously, everybody's got a different situation right now. A lot of my friends are out of work. I've been trying to help them as much as I can, and family as much as I can, and try to be in touch with people as much as I can. Spend some time on the phone with my buddy Bob Kerr, you know, who's obviously all alone at his house and stuff. And but yeah, it's starting to get weird. I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. It's starting to get weird where you think, I finally got all the time in the world to call up my aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff like that. But then what do you talk about? If you notice this, it's starting to get weird. Like, what do you talk about? I can talk about some neat stuff that I got for the one time I left my house. It probably went a little overboard, but I was supporting the business, you know, and stuff. You can talk about this kind of thing in your collections, or you can revisit old stuff. Luckily, I got the time travel stuff to work on, so that's cool and new. But when it comes to the conversation, what have you been doing? Oh, yeah, you're going to talk about, you know, viruses and crazy things going on. And once you're done with that obligatory talk, you're kind of like, what you been doing since the last time I talked to you? Nothing. What about you? I went to the grocery store. That was a hoot. And then that's it. And then when are we going to get out? We don't know. When's this going to reopen? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. So you're finding less things to talk about. One thing that actually has been good, I've noticed, if you call older relatives, you have the chance and the time now to ask about their parents and stuff like that. You know, those family history questions that you've always had, or where did we come from, that kind of thing. I've noticed this is a good time for it because nobody's had anything to do but sit around and think, and we can't talk about the future because we don't know what's going on in the future, right? But it's a perfect time to talk about the past, perfect time to read books. So just trying to focus on, oh cool, I get to do this instead of I have to sit here. Although I gotta tell you, it's getting even hard for me, the champion of trying to think positive and mentally pace myself. It's getting a little itchy. I'm a man in motion, forced to hold still, and I don't like it. Do you like it, Darkwing? He doesn't like it either. He doesn't like it either. Anyway, that's it. I thought I would share this because many people have been saying you gotta shave that beard off. It was actually, between when I shaved it off and today, it's been a couple days, because I found that day that I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I haven't really done anything since then, though. With the estate sale, I picked these bad boys up from a local place. It's actually called SoCal Embroidery, I think, down in Santa Ana. So if you need embroidery, there's a good local place that can do some embroiderizing for you. Shout out to them, just because I know they're working really hard through this whole thing, and you know, they do a lot of stuff for sports teams and stuff like that that aren't happening right now. London is in the other room having his first Boy Scout Zoom meeting. They have a, we don't want to speak the name of the evil thing, right? Or else they block videos because they think you're making up some kind of claims about it or trying to give medical advice, which of course I'm not doing. So we'll just say the situation. There's a merit badge for it, a social distancing merit badge with a picture of the offending germ as the merit badge. I could not believe it. I was like, dude, you got to go in the Zoom meeting. You got to work. We have to have that. I mean, that's something you show your grandchildren. Dude, there was this weird time that hopefully never happens again, right? We hope. And to the point where we were even getting weirdo merit badges from it. So I thought you gotta get that one. That's the way to go. But I got him here, so that's been kind of a nice thing. And I really had my face buried in this laptop, editing and editing and editing. Time travel videos and sorting through old footage and taking 3-second clips from here and clips from here and doing all this stuff and photoshopping old images, to the point where for the first time ever I've always had like sniper vision. Everyone else in my family, a lot of computer work, eventually had to wear glasses. Me, never. I've never had to wear glasses except for sunglasses, you know, outside, but never prescription glasses. And I found that I was doing so much editing, because these videos take like a week to work on. I was doing so much screen staring, even for me who experienced screen stare. Maybe it's a combination of age and I don't know what. I did just have a birthday after all. I started to get like where I couldn't focus my eyes on anything. Like I'd be done editing and I'd go to watch TV and I can't, what? I can't see it. I'd start turning my phone light on in the house to look at things. And, whoa. Luckily, I think it's just the eye strain. So I spent like 2 or 3 days where I was like, I can't look at a screen. I can look at my phone for a few minutes, post an Instagram picture, and then I gotta not look at a screen. And thankfully, the horrible migraines I was getting from that went away. So it turns out eye strain is real. Who knew? All these years of using Photoshop and staring at screens, never really had a problem. But apparently when you look at it for 20 hours a day like this for multiple days, day after day after day, without getting a lot of sunlight and fresh air, yeah, even I was affected with the eye thing. And I'm hoping it doesn't become permanent, because I don't really want to wear glasses indoors and stuff. But we'll just have to see what happens. The headaches went away. The one eye still seems a bit blurry, this one. But I hope that goes away too, because I've always had like better than 20/20 vision, you know. So I'm like, oh no, my vision, the one thing about me that's not decrepit. And anyway, I've had some problems with my arm, my neck thing, but that's all negative news. Nobody needs to hear the negative news. I do have a tele appointment with my neck surgeon. So there's one of those things that I've been trying to, over the past several weeks, talk myself into. Because obviously they had to delay all kinds of appointments and surgeries and things, so I was all delayed. And, you know, they told me that I'd probably have to have a neck surgery. I was kind of freaking out a little bit. I was really worried. Luckily, this gave enough pause. I'm trying to turn it in my brain from, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a surgery, if I can afford it, to, okay, I get to have a surgery, which means if it works, on the other side of this, you know, I'll be able to pick up things again, and I'll be able to help Allie carry the heavy groceries, and I'll be able to reach for things on the top shelf without injuring myself every time, and, you know, I'll stop dropping stuff. It's bad to the point where when it's bad, if I'm holding anything in just this arm, anything heavy like this, today's a pretty good day, it's weak, I'm about to drop it, this feels like holding up like 2 milk jugs to my arm, you know, the amount of effort, and that's the part they're worried about is that sorry, but normally it shakes. I pick something up and they're worried about the nerve damage, you know, because my hand is always numb, stuff like that. So they're worried about nerve death from them being pinched for so long, and they're sort of not unpinching on their own, and partial paralysis and things for your hand. So it's obviously something to freak out and worry about a little bit, even to chiropractors and the people who are usually like, no surgery, no drugs, you can do it all the holistic, natural way. They're like, oh yeah, you really need to take that surgery seriously. So, you know, it's not dire. I'm not going to perish if I don't have it. But in a weird way, I was kind of lucky that I have some time to think it over and go, okay, maybe it won't be so bad. I breathe, listen to the experts. And so I have a phone call conversation because they're really worried about that. Like, see the fingers? Like, they start to curl up in this weird, like, way, especially when I'm sleeping, until I That's the most weirdest thing, and they're doing some tests where they flick one. Doctors will know, but you flick a finger and then your other fingers move, like a weird reflex test, and apparently I have really bad results. So the left arm's a little weak, but luckily I'm right-handed, so I can still go forward with plenty of things. Like, of course, I have a cyst right there in the wrist that they said they don't think this needs surgery for now, and that maybe it'll pop. I can drop a book on it like the old times, or it'll go away. They did shift it, so it did get better. So other than that, I don't know what I have to talk about other than work, work, work. Try to stay positive, keep my brain from going crazy. There's a lot of stuff out there, obviously empty streets and things I could be going out to film. I've really tried to avoid that, not because I think me being out there is necessarily going to be super dangerous for me or other people, because I'm going to keep away the mask, the whole thing, but just because if everybody did it, it'd be a lot harder to convince people to stay, so I've been really trying not to. Of course, we're 6-7 weeks into this thing, and I'm starting to get itchy, so we'll see. We'll get back out there eventually. And there is something really cool that I just found out. It was supposed to come in March, and will now be coming this month, I think, for sure. It's on a boat somewhere in the ocean, literally. Something really... Should I show it? I've kept this so secret, I don't know if I should show it. Maybe I can show a part of it. Something very secret is coming. Something very, very secret is coming. That's enough. That's enough. I've showed you too much. You've seen too much. You've done your duty. This is the first face report and the final beard report. Go home and sleep well. And I'll be right back. We'll do another face thing together, maybe outdoors if we can find a good spot. And of course, the Patreon podcasts are back, and I'll get back to work editing. And then if you tell me that you'd like to see it, then maybe next time I'll show you my 1989 Batman swag. It's not a perfect collection, not one of those crazy collectors that's like, I gotta spend hundreds of dollars on this. I've never had hundreds of dollars at my disposal. So it's all like weird little bits and pieces over the years that's become sort of like, wow, there's actually kind of a lot of stuff here now over the past 20 years, you know, kind of thing. So I kind of want to show you. It's pretty cool. I love that movie. It's a great movie. And now, to lead us out, a few words from a friend of mine who's a little older, a little wiser, a little more experienced. He went through the 1918-17 Spanish flu pandemic and survived, and so he might have a little advice for us. Let's hear what old Pappy has to say.
Well, back in my day, we used to grow very full beards, and only quitters would shave them. They'd get a shave and a haircut for 2 bits, but it was 2 bits to a bob, so that was a serious concern. Back in my time, when the germs were coming and people were coughing and things were happening, we would listen to Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt told me once, if he told me 100 times, we're taking Cuba from Spain if we have to rough ride all the way to Veracruz. And in the gold mines, I was finding my mule a little troublesome, so I gave him a swift kick to his saddle, not to his rump, because I didn't want to hurt him. And then I noticed that there was a few less flies on him, and then dust got in my eye, and I started to weep slowly for my old can of beans that I lost. He was a good friend. His name was Little Frijole, and he was a good can. He kept me company when I was out in the desert all alone. And what was I going to say? And we got better. So, if you do find yourself on the receiving end of a sickness, I recommend whiskey and onions. Of course, only to those who enjoy whiskey and onions and are at no risk. I don't want a lawsuit. I remember when we were sued down in Tombstone, Arizona over that silver mine. Oh, that was no fun at all. So better not take my advice at all. Goodbye.